Hey, good morning. This is a Maggard's brush. It's a synthetic, kind of the Plisson-type. Lots of spring to it, but super soft tips. We'll be using a feather blade today. It has seen about 34 uses. So it's getting up there for, at least for your average user. The razor is this, I think it's an MR11 handle from Maggard. I can't remember the exact number, but it's just kind of the standard bulldog looking handle and one of my favorites. The head, and I do have a blade installed, so I'm going to be careful. The head is their V3 head, and it is in the gray finish. The blade installed, of course, is that feather I showed you. And the soap today is Tobacco and Leather from Maggard as well. It's a used soap. I've tried a sample of this soap and I enjoy it, but I haven't tried any from here. As you might guess, today is Maggard's Day. This is the beginning of the Lather Games. And I'm just going to get my brush wet. This is synthetic. You don't really need to soak it because it doesn't absorb any of the water. I just got it wet under the water stream there. As usual, just kind of shake anything excess out. We're going to do my usual 30-second load. Synthetic brushes are renowned for their springiness and often will be very efficient at picking up lather. So 30 seconds may be too much, but that's all right. We'll deal with it. 5 was rolled around right there, so we'll go until 35. So we're in the Lather Games, and this is day 1. I like it. I like to change soap every day, and with the Lather Games, you certainly do that. Have different themes, and there are 4 vendors that were specifically chosen because of their involvement in the wet shaving sub on Reddit. And there we go, 30 seconds. And they, Maggard's is one of them, and we're starting the month off with them. And I am really happy about that because Maggard's has done well by me for sure with their customer service and other things like that. They are a small business and they serve the shaving community really well. They're active in the forums and just a really upstanding company. And they offer kind of an Amazon type edge shipping. Amazon type, that Prime, you know, you can buy their edge shipping and then shipping's free for 6 months or something like that. If you're just starting out as a wet shaver and you plan to try a bunch of different soaps, they have a great sample program as well. I think in the beginning with Maggard's, I bought maybe more handles and razors and things like that from them than I did soap. Oh, you know what? I really did a lot of their clearance. They have a clearance section that's often really good deals. And of course, they do a really good job of giving you good deals on Black Friday, you know, holiday deals, that sort of thing. The Maggard brand soap is made by Through the Fire Fine Craft, if I recall correctly. The same people who make that, and it should have a good performance. Start with a teaspoon of water. I don't really use synthetics very much, especially this one. This Plisson-type is just a little too springy for me, too much backbone, and so I find it uncomfortable. But it's Maggard's Day, and this is my Maggard's razor. If I had one of those Maggard's badger knots, that would have been perfect, but I don't. lather looks pretty good so far. 2 teaspoons in it now. Also got their Northern Moss soap. It's got a decent smell to it. I can't remember if I've tried it or not. Almost used that one today, but since I had the matching splash, I happen to have the splash, I decided to go with the tobacco and leather. I can feel the viscosity here getting lighter of the soap. You can kind of see it changing just a little bit. I don't have the amount of water memorized for this soap. I think I better quit adding water. And so that's why I have to add it gradually. Some soaps require you to add water gradually. This is my Roger Quintero designed printed 3D computer printed bowl. I like it a lot. Details on the designs are in my description, and if you have access to a 3D printer, you could print your own. Alright, I think we're good looking. Not ton of lather, but it should be plenty to do the job. It's a little firm. It didn't really get long peaks as it dropped, but that's, maybe just be the way this soap is designed. A little rinse on the face. All right, a little bit more than 1 day's growth today. The water I'm using is hard water. And these tips are very soft. And as long as I focus on not splaying, do you see my cheek move like that when I change direction? That is why I don't like most synthetics. It's kind of uncomfortable and too stiff. And I'm using lukewarm water, as is my custom. If you don't know much about these types of synthetics, if it looks like this knot, then it's probably the same knot, same source. It may be outsourced or something like that, but it's probably came from the same place. And so what you're doing is basically paying for the handle. So if you see this knot on something and it's like $100 brush, then you better be getting a $90 handle. All right, I haven't used the V3, kind of the standard Maggard head, in a long time. You can see the blade's not really supported very well from the bottom until you get to maybe 6 or 7 millimeters away from the edge, and it's not going to give you as consistent a feel as some of the other razors that I use that come right to the edge or close to it, and so that's probably why I don't use it very much. However, a lot of people use it and rightfully so, and I do recommend it as a great starter razor. A little bit of drag here. Wonder if I wet down my lather too much. A little bit of tugging, but this is a, you know, the 35th use of this particular blade. It's a slightly, it's kind of a mid-range blade. You know, it can be mild. Well, I wouldn't say it could be mild. It's just kind of medium range. And that's why I put the feather in it. Because I thought maybe, because the feather, I think in my more mild razors is starting to get a little iffy. So what we do is you change it into other razors as it ages, because this feather is one that I'm going to marathon. All right, a little tuggy, but first pass done. So just 2.5 teaspoons of water to make this lather. See how the second pass goes. Many times it's a lot more smooth. Don't have to scrub as much. Okay, got a little sauce smear right there. I'll rub some of this rub some of this shaving soap in it. Dual purpose. All right, it's time to cross grain on my cheeks. Yep, pretty smooth. I think I did overwater it just a little bit. This lather just may need to look drier than where I usually like it. And with many good soaps, including this one, if you over wet, it's usually better than under hydrating, because many times you get a great performing lather, even though it's maybe a little too wet. It just may not have the creaminess that you usually enjoy. All right, we'll rinse. The scent here is very light. It is perceivable. It is definitely, if you stick your nose in the mug, in the bowl here. And tobacco and leather, pretty straightforward. But it's very light. Definitely not going to overwhelm anybody. Third pass. And what do we have left after the third pass? Maybe 2 passes worth. So the 30-second load is, you know, pretty close to being right. Maybe for me at least, maybe a little over. So back it off to 20 or 25 seconds maybe with this particular brush. And be good. Second pass was very comfortable. Now the third. Razor is not gliding super well, but that could be because I mixed it a little too thin. But it's working well enough. And there we go. Hey, very happy with the result and the closeness of this shave. Now that you're not watching my lather, let me tilt you up a little bit. My trouble spot area here got shaved really nicely, very close. I don't feel any irritation, so it was a little bit tuggy in that first pass. So I'll definitely move this blade up to a little bit more aggressive razors, just because I'm seeing how many shaves it'll get me. Comfortable, close. Wasn't super slick because of the soap. Probably my bad. Need to leave that one a little drier than I usually like to. Fairly economical. The 30-second load was close to right. Maybe reduce it a little bit. All right, let's throw on some of this tobacco and leather splash. Shake it up just in case. And this, I believe, does have alcohol. Very little stinging. Just a little bit up here in my cheeks. That means my technique was pretty good. Let's just check here. We got good ingredients like witch hazel, aloe, yep, and alcohol. So pretty good. I'm happy with their post-shave product. If you have really dry skin, you may want to go for more of a balm instead of the alcohol type splash. All right, face feels good. Day one is down for the Lather Games. Maggard, thank you so much for giving us all such good service, good products. One nice thing about their soap collection is I can recommend pretty much any of them that they have. I point to people often instead of sending people like a list of soaps, because there are a lot of them out there that are really bad, especially on Amazon and eBay. Just poor performing soaps comparatively. But I point to people to just go to Maggard's and look at the soaps, because everything they've got is good. And so then they have a large selection and they don't have to worry about, maybe they don't buy from Maggard's, but at least that's a good filter for weeding out a lot of the bad ones. Now, some of the good ones aren't on there, you know, just because not everybody, especially the international ones, you know, that sort of thing. But everything they have is good stuff. Produces a very good lather. All right, do some cleanup. 2.5 teaspoons of water for the 30-second load. Now the scent on the splash is much stronger than the soap, and that's typical. And it is distinctly tobacco and leather, so they nailed that right on the head. And that's something I enjoy. My wife doesn't enjoy it too much, but I sure do. And fortunately, it probably won't last too long. With my luck, it'll be the longest lasting aftershave I've got, right? But anyway, I'd say it's mid-strength. So I'd say it's pretty good. And I do enjoy it. So I wanted to show you the knot. I don't believe I showed you in unlathered form, but this is the Plisson-type. It's got these kind of gray tips leading to brown, and then of course this yellowish beigeish color, and you'll see this all over the place in the retail market. And like I said, if this knot doesn't cost very much, maybe 12 bucks, maybe 10 bucks, if you just get the knot itself. And so if it looks like it's got this kind of knot, then it better have an expensive handle if you're wanting to pay expensive prices for it. Otherwise, it's kind of a rip-off. This, we call it the Plisson-type because there's actually a Plisson brand. I believe they're French. That maybe they're the ones who's kind of started this particular type of brush, type of knot. But this is a kind of a clone of that. And the Plisson ones, the real Plisson ones, are more expensive. I've never tried one. I don't know if it's worth it or not. But I just wanted to put that out there. The cons to this type of synthetic and so many others like Tuxedo, Sinbad, Cashmere, Boss, is that for me at least, they're a little too springy. They bounce back a little too quickly. Sometimes they'll throw lather around. Most importantly is that shoving that they do that I told you about, because of the backbone. And that's okay. A lot of people like it even though it does that. It's a great brush to start off with because they're inexpensive. They are kind of hard to destroy. If you do press them, there are some people where you'll look at it and it'll be all empty in the middle because they're just crushing it, pushing down soap way too hard. But they're great as travel brushes because they dry very quickly compared to animal hair brushes. And so that prevents mold from building up and things like that. The tips are really soft, but it's just that backbone behind it that is my problem. I particularly don't like this shape of handle. It's a traditional type shape, but maybe my hands are too big. I don't know. Don't really like it too much. But anyway, that's some pros and cons for the synthetics. And here's the soap. I like it. I'll have to I'll try out that Northern Moss. I'll probably sell one and keep the other. I'd like to have one scent from Maggard's on hand, just kind of for den purposes. And this razor did just fine, even with an old blade. A little tuggy, but I'm certain that's the blade's fault and not the razor feather. Set it aside for now. And I like to take my pieces and just kind of dry them a little bit on a towel or hand towel or something like that. So I'll set those aside for a minute from now. All right, we're looking like pretty good. A lot of the razors that I use are stainless steel, and very few are the Zamac. When I first started, I got a lot of Parkers and Mercurs from Amazon because I didn't know any better. Those are all Zamac razors for the most part, zinc and alloy and that sort of thing. And they can last you a long time, but they can also break when dropped pretty easily. The bolt here, it can sometimes break where it connects to the top cap. If water is left in there, water can eventually corrode it. A Zamac razor can last you a lifetime if you take care of it and if you don't drop it. I wanted to say that because the head for the Maggard razors are not stainless steel. They are the Zamac, but they can still last a long time. Now their handles, however, are stainless steel, and they represent a really, really good bargain for a pretty good quality stainless steel handle. I have had the case of sometimes the top being a little too rough, and so if I put it in a Zamac head, I wasn't really worrying about it too much because it's not that expensive. But if I put a Maggard's handle on a nice head that's stainless steel, sometimes I would take a file or something like that, some very, very fine sandpaper, and just kind of on that to smooth it out. Or I've also purchased some nylon washers to make sure that this top of the head doesn't really scratch up, top of the handle doesn't really scratch up the bottom of the head. So I wanted to mention that not stainless steel, and not just the gray part, but all of their heads, all the V3 heads are the Zamac. And like I said, they can last you a long time, but they're not as indestructible as the stainless, but they cost a lot less. Well, there we go. The Lather Games is underway, and no, most people are not recording their Lather Games shaves like I do. You can participate as little as you want. If you only have 2 soaps, you can participate if you want to. Sometimes people do it by getting up samples from some of the different vendors out there. if you don't have very much of a soap collection. I'm going to try to change my razor blade soap maker, not just the soap scent, but maker and aftershave and brush every day. I think I should be able to do it. Aftershaves might be my weak point, so we'll see what happens. All right, well, there we go. Good shave. The tuggy first pass was short-lived. Don't really feel it at all anymore. Comfortable, nice shave, no redness, and a nice close one. So there we go. Hope this helps you in some way. Probably need to get a few more shaves with the Maggard products, the soap especially out there, just to show off those bases. A very respectable soap. Next time I'll put a little bit less water in it. All right, this is Sugar Daddy Shaves. You take care. Have a good day.